The hinge on the white-painted garden gate gave its familiar, friendly squeak. Sarah Davies maneuvered the pram over the pavement's lip with a practiced heave, one hand firmly on the handle, the other clutching a bag of shopping. Inside, 6-month-old Leo gurgled, his chubby fists batting at the colorful butterfly mobile suspended above him. Home again, jiggity-jig, she sang softly, a rhyme from her own childhood. It was a perfect, crisp Tuesday afternoon in Leamington Spa. Their street was a portrait of suburban bliss, neatly trimmed hedges, hanging baskets spilling with petunias, the distant hum of a lawnmower. Their 3-bedroom red brick semi with its proud bay window stood among them. To any observer, it was the very definition of having made it. Sarah herself had believed it, until about 3 weeks ago. She got the pram into the hallway, bumping it gently against the bottom stair, a daily ritual. Unclipping Leo, she lifted his warm, wriggling body against her shoulder, inhaling his sweet, powdery scent. This was her life now. A mosaic of nappy changes, pureed food, and small, quiet moments of profound love that made the exhaustion worthwhile. She'd been a paralegal with a promising career, but when Leo came, the calculus changed. The cost of childcare versus her salary, the long commute. It pointed towards taking her full maternity leave. David, her husband, had been supportive. "We'll manage Sarah. Your place is with him right now. I'm the provider." He'd said it with such chest-puffing certainty. David, the reliable project manager, the man with a 5-year plan and a spreadsheet for everything. He handled the investments, the mortgage, the pensions. It had been a relief at first to hand over the mental load. She was busy keeping a tiny human alive. It was a practical division of labor, but the relief had slowly curdled into a vague, persistent unease. It began with the digital wall. A month ago, she'd tried to log into their joint bank account to check a direct debit for Leo's swimming lessons. "Invalid login credentials." She'd tried again, carefully. "Your account has been locked after multiple failed attempts." When David came home, she'd asked him about it. A shadow, fleeting but unmistakable, had passed behind his eyes. "Ah, yes, sorry, love." The bank flagged some suspicious activity. A login from Poland. "I had to reset all our security. I'll set up your login again this weekend, I promise." He'd said it with such casual finality that the conversation felt closed. But the weekend came and went, and he was always too busy or forgot. Then came the brown envelopes. The first was a final reminder from the electricity company. They were on a direct debit. They never got paper bills. Her call to them revealed the direct debit had been canceled by David. When confronted, he sighed, the picture of mild annoyance. "I was reorganizing our direct debits to a new savings account. I must have forgotten to reinstate this one. It's a simple administrative error. Stop worrying. You're always looking for problems lately." The criticism stung. Was she looking for problems? The cracks became chasms. While searching for a pen in David's chaotic admin drawer, her fingers brushed against a crumpled receipt from a high-end jeweler in Birmingham. A gentleman's chronograph watch. Price, $2,300. Dated 2 weeks prior. Her heart hammered. Why? Where was it? It wasn't his birthday or their anniversary. The date was one he'd claimed to be at an all-day team-building workshop. That evening, she placed the receipt on the kitchen table. "What's this, David?" He stared at it, his jaw tightening. Then a hollow laugh. "Oh, that. God, I'd forgotten. It was for Mark's retirement gift. We all chipped in. I was just the one who bought it. It was plausible, but it felt slick, rehearsed." The cold knot in her stomach tightened. The final straw was a casual comment from her friend, Anya, during a play date. "Saw David the other day looking sharp in town? Was he on a long lunch?" Sarah had frozen. David had told her he was at a critical off-site meeting in Nottingham that day. That night, as David snored softly beside her, a terrifying clarity descended. This wasn't a series of misunderstandings. It was a pattern. A deliberate, systematic pattern of deception. She lay there, listening to the 2 most important men in her life breathing. One an innocent, the other a stranger, and knew she had to find the truth. She waited until his snores were deep and regular, then slipped out of bed. His study was off limits when he wasn't in it, a rule she'd never questioned. Now it felt like the epicenter of the lie. His laptop was password protected, but he kept a battered leather Filofax in his top drawer, a relic he refused to part with. Her hands trembled as she flipped it open. There, in his precise handwriting, were logins and passwords. Back in the living room, she opened his laptop, the glow of the screen illuminating her terrified face. She logged into their joint bank account. The world dropped out from under her. The savings account, which should have held $8,000, had a balance of $342. The current account was $850 overdrawn. Transactions she didn't recognize flashed by. Large cash withdrawals, payments to obscure online companies with names like Royal Jackpot Casino and BetSecure, a $500 payment to a L. Sterling. Tears blurred her vision as she navigated to the junior ISA, Leo's account. The $27,000 from her grandmother's inheritance, the money that was to be his university fund, his start in life. She clicked on the transaction history. Full withdrawal. Account closed. The date was 3 weeks ago. The same day, David had taken her out for a surprise romantic dinner, telling her how much he appreciated her, how everything he did was for their family. A silent, screaming sob racked her body. He had stolen from his own son. He had looked her in the eye and kissed her, all while systematically looting their future. The betrayal was so profound it felt physical, a searing pain in her chest. She didn't sleep. She sat in the dark, holding Leo, watching the clock until it was a reasonable hour to act. As soon as it hit 9 a.m., she called her sister Chloe in Birmingham. Her voice was a broken whisper. "Chloe, I think I'm in trouble. David, he's taken everything." "Leo's money is gone." Chloe didn't hesitate. "I'm on my way. Right now." Next, she called the bank, bypassing the helpless call center and demanding a meeting with a manager. Then she called a solicitor, her voice shaking but firm as she outlined the facts. Fraud, theft, her own husband. She moved through the morning like an automaton, feeding and changing Leo, her mind a whirlwind of panic and a strange new cold fury. David had left for work, oblivious, with a quick peck on her cheek. "Have a good day, love." When Chloe arrived, her face was a mask of fury. She wrapped Sarah in a fierce hug. "We'll get through this. I promise." They drove to the bank together, Leo in his car seat in the back. The manager, a Mr. Andrews, ushered them into a private room. His face was grim as he confirmed what she already knew. "The withdrawal from the junior ISA required both signatures, Mrs. Davies. The form we have on file appears to have them." "It's a forgery," Sarah stated, her voice surprisingly steady. "I never signed it." Mr. Andrews' expression was one of profound pity. "I'm so very sorry. You will need to report this to the police." The police station was the next stop. The officer, a kind but weary-looking woman, took her statement. "This is financial abuse, Mrs. Davies. It's more common than you think. We'll open an investigation, but these cases, they're complex. Proving he forged your signature will be difficult." The full, horrifying reality was closing in. He hadn't just stolen their money. He had broken the very foundation of their life together. Exhausted, they drove back to the house. As they turned onto her street, Sarah's breath caught in her throat. There was a sold sign slapped across the for sale sign she hadn't even known existed. A man from the estate agent was there taking the sign down. "No!" she screamed, scrambling out of the car, leaving Chloe with Leo. "What are you doing?" "This is my house." The man looked confused. "Mrs. Davies? The sale completed this morning. The new owners take possession next week." "Completed? How? I never signed anything." He consulted his clipboard. "The paperwork was all in order. Solicitors handled it. Maybe you should speak with your husband." She fumbled for her keys, her hands shaking violently. She jammed the key into the lock. It didn't turn. She tried again, jiggling it. Nothing. The locks had been changed. She was locked out of her own home. She collapsed on the doorstep, sobbing. Her neighbor, Mary, came running over. "Sarah! Love, what's wrong?" When Sarah could finally speak, Mary's face paled. "David, he said you'd left him. He said you'd had a breakdown, Taken Leo and gone to your mother's in Scotland. He said he was selling up to make a fresh start. The scale of the deception was monstrous. He hadn't just stolen their money. He had stolen her reputation, her home, her sanity. He had painted her as an unstable woman who had abandoned her family, preemptively discrediting her. Chloe was immediately on the phone to the solicitor again, her voice sharp with urgency. She helped a catatonic Sarah back into the car, Leo now crying in her arms. "You're coming home with me," Chloe said, her tone brooking no argument. "You are not spending another night in that man's orbit." At Chloe's small terraced house in Birmingham, the numbness began to wear off, replaced by a raw, gaping grief. The police came and took a more detailed statement. The solicitor explained the grim reality. While the forged ISS signature was clear fraud, the money from the joint accounts was, legally, his to take. The house sale was a gray area. His solicitor was likely claiming she had signed the documents and was now having seller's remorse. A few days later, a forensic accountant hired by her solicitor uncovered the truth. David had a gambling addiction. The money had flowed into online casinos and sports betting sites. He was over $100,000 in debt. The watch receipt was likely a pawnable asset, a desperate attempt to generate cash. The romantic dinner, the lies about work, it was all a performance to maintain the facade while he bled their life dry. He showed up at Chloe's a week later, not to apologize, but to demand. "Sarah, you have to sign this," he said, thrusting a document at her. It was a transfer of her share of the house's equity to him. "They'll hurt me if I don't pay. You have to help me." The man she loved was gone, replaced by a desperate, hollow-eyed stranger. "Get out," she said, her voice quiet but firm. "If you come near me or my son again, I will have you arrested." She obtained a restraining order. The divorce proceedings were brutal. David's lawyer painted her as hysterical and unreliable. The judge split the remaining marital assets, but the $27,000 was gone, vanished into the void of his debts. The victory was Pyrrhic, leaving her with a fraction of what she'd lost and a mountain of legal fees. 2 years later, Sarah lives in a small rented flat. She works 2 jobs to support Leo and herself. The betrayal left a scar that will never fully heal. But there is a new strength in her, forged in that fire. She looks at Leo, now a vibrant 3-year-old, and knows she is building a different future for him. A future built on honesty and resilience. She started a blog to help other women spot the signs of financial abuse. The community she built has been her salvation. Her story isn't a fairy tale with a neat ending. It's a battle scar. It's a warning to trust your instincts, to always have financial independence, and to know that sometimes the person you trust the most can be the source of your greatest pain. But it's also proof that you can lose everything and still find the strength to stand up, fight back, and build a new life from the ashes.